and Rob McGregor welcome you to a place where all kinds of phenomena flourish. Voices whisper ancient secrets, signs and symbols are abundant. UFOs, ETs, ghosts, and even the dead move about freely. Here we meet authors, researchers, and investigators of the mysterious, the strange, and of the inexplicable anomalies that surround us. Step out of the everyday world and take a journey into the mystical underground.
Welcome to the Mystical Underground. Thank you for joining us. This is Trish McGregor and
Rob McGregor
and our producer and tech magician, John Posey. You can go to themysticalunderground.com where we make regular blog posts and where you can find out about our books. Among them are Phenomena, Harnessing Your Psychic Abilities, The Secrets of Spirit Communication, Sensing the Future, and Aliens in the Backyard. Our latest book is called Mind-Blowing Synchronicities, the latest science, stories, and research. Trish's most recent novel is White Crows, and Rob's most recent novel is called Tulpas. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would appreciate it if you would take a second to click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons so you never miss an episode. If you prefer to listen to the show, it's available wherever you listen to podcasts, so please subscribe there. Also, I should mention, I'm an astrologer, so if you want to have your chart done, write me through themysticalunderground.com and the contact button. Okay,
our guest today is Joshua Reichmann. Josh is an Akashic reader, Pleiadian channel, contemplative therapist, and multidisciplinary artist. He has practiced and taught traditional Tibetan Buddha, holographic recapitulation, psychic integration, and healing at temples, spiritual centers, and group retreats for more than 10 years. Josh is the author of The Realized Light of the 12 Dimensions. In it, he presents channeled Pleiadian wisdom on the evolving state of humanity, the 12 spectral dimensions of experience, the Akashic records, as well as the cosmic mechanics of our physical and metaphysical reality. He also explains how to access the higher dimensions through the heart beam to connect to the cosmic heart. Welcome, Josh.
Yay, you're here.
Thank you so much. I know that's a lot to get through. That.
Yeah. Some
you're
big
a busy
words
guy.
there. Some big words. I got to ask you about holographic recapitulation. That's that sounds like a mind blower.
Yeah,
holographic.
So thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Yeah, thanks for the intro. So holographic recapitulation is like you can remember when you're in the womb. Do you have any memory impressions, imprints that came in through your senses? So this is like getting those impressions that rest within the body, and then you can track that through every day, every week, every month leading to now. So it's like a hologram. Wow. It's like a hologram in our mind, right? Our memory, and it's also laced into the somatic body, the nervous system. So recapitulating it is actually bringing it back to the present, because we have all these trauma points, stuck in history, even multiple lives and all that. So it's like cleaning up and getting back to the right here.
And how did you get into this work?
Like the whole thing, like all of it?
Yeah, all of it.
I've just been this way since I was little. Yeah. And then, I've had a normal life, like skateboarding and marriages and businesses and eating and, but then this is also just always going, you know how it is. It's like, and then you just start to accept it more and more and more. Yeah.
Well, how did your parents react?
Well, they're really encouraging. I mean, some of the language and stuff we're talking about right now are not, they're not the same language that use, but my mother's a yogi, and she's she's an art therapist, so some of it makes a lot of sense and some of it is shared. I don't think they can change a lot. I'm an Aries. If you want to talk about astrology, I'm a triple. Triple fire sign Aries.
Boy.
Child, with the just it's like you're not going to stop. But so they were like, oh, he's going to do that, and then,
You ruled, in other words.
I mean, if for better or worse, you know what I mean. It's got all you know very well what that's like.
So can you elaborate, Josh, on your history of channeling and the psychic work that you've done? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was always doing that in my life with people, sort of the way we all do. Sort of, everyone gives each other advice. Everyone has intuitions. Everyone can, to a degree, can see, and through different filters and levels of consciousness and their own, how much they've integrated their own ability to get out of the way and really feel someone else. Everyone does that a little bit, especially now more than ever on the planet. And culturally, we're all getting aware of it, but and learning and relearning those energetic skill sets. But for me, I started to realize when I was doing more of like meditation teaching and doing like more regular kind of therapy I was doing with people as a contemplative therapist, I was just doing more traditional. That actually what was happening is I was getting into the intrapsychic energetic space with people and then giving them these imprints that included even potential timeline futures they'd have, and then those things would come true. Not that I tell the future, it's more that you're reading the tracks and potentiality of their own mind and energy and where it's headed. So it's sort of like when you do astrology or tarot, you're essentially picking up all the sort of gates and symbols and paths and patterns happening. And it's the speed of thought. It's not like it's not like
Right.
Yeah, so I started doing that, and then I started offering it. And I'm always debating whether it's a profession or it's just a service. I don't know.
Did you do it in Costa Rica?
I did I did some of that work there. I do it online. For people, I do Akashic record readings, which is a very big. They get a big download that they can unspool and work through over many years, because people will get a reading and go, well, this is almost overwhelming. It's not a regular psychic reading, though I can do those. It's like the big one. And if you get your Akashic records, it might be something like there's a red book under your bed. You better go find it. They go, look, it's not there. But 6 months later, it's sitting there. And they're like, that book. So I don't know when it'll detonate all those things. But in Costa Rica, I did stuff like clearing. People really misuse or they relate to medicine and the ancestors and the shamanic realms a lot, is this medicine world, right? So I would do little stuff like cleaning up areas or cleaning up homes, because people are really blown open there. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So
You mean psychic stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Just a lot of, when you do medicine, like ayahuasca, all these things, you work with these beings, these energies, or when people are just living in a certain way, in conjunction with the land or not in harmony with the land, you're getting a lot of the ancestors, the animals, the elements, and a lot of stuff is just is clashing. So I did a little bit of clearing there for people, and obviously myself all the time, because I'm just a person, so I make a mess too. But doing my best to clear up some energy vectors and spaces and portals there.
So you had a Kundalini awakening experience at some point in your life. Can you talk about that and how that developed?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I think it's a process. I think it's different. Some people have a 6-month Kundalini awakening. Everything explodes, like their life falls apart. Their body goes into spasm. That can last 4 to 7 years for some people. Some people
That's long.
I know people, the process really destroys the normal life cycle, because look, people awaken parts of not trauma is the wrong word. It's just memory, imprint, energy that's locked and stored and sealed in the body that hasn't been addressed and looked at. If you invite the lightning serpent of truth into the body energetically, which is just, we call it God or whatever, you just basically say, I want my consciousness to expand. Well, if you do it and you actually get it rolling, then you're going to have that process begin, and it's on its own time. It doesn't care if you have to take lunch or you got to go to business or you want to have a marriage. It doesn't care. It's you are evolving. So luckily mine, well, it did wreck my life, but in but it only took, I would say that process was a couple-year process, and now there's residual things that, I'm always learning and evolving, but the big one happened. It kind of invites in a different way of life. You're like a battery that just got plugged in,
Huh. Is that what led you to Buddhism?
No, I had Buddhism before that. I was reading the Dharma books, when I was a teenager, everything from Pema Chodron, and reading all the, some of the big ones when I was a teenager. And so I was like, oh, this is when I look at a dust particle floating in sunlight, and I think the cosmos is that, and that's interdependent with my thinking, and it's all a dance of perception, and that's a little cell within the cosmos, and so is the planet. And oh wait, everything's dancing, and we're at the beginning of anything, including the thought. So I had those, but then when you read the books, you're like, oh, people have made a tradition out of this and a way to go, wait a minute, this is happening, and it means you're locked in delusion, you're living in a dream, that's samsara. And then I went, oh, this is for me. And then they say, there's a way out. And then I went, right, almost forgot this. I'm supposed to be getting out. And then, you remember suddenly. And then I started taking it more seriously. And then I started studying and meditating. And, I still do that. So.
Now, what are you doing in Toronto? Just because, is that where you come back to in the fall?
Yeah. So my mother's house is here, my family house. And I grew up here, and I don't have full American citizenship. So, I don't stay, although some of my kids are there. So I visit. I'm basically there like a month or two on, then I come here for a little bit of time. And I do that, which is very difficult actually, having, because I'm really attached with my kids so deeply. But yeah, I come back here and I see friends and stuff, and I get to it. The countryside here is like, I don't know where y'all are at, but for people like us, you need peaceful environment at some point.
We're in Florida, South Florida.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like Florida. I used to go to Miami, Palm Beach, Dade area. I used to go there a bunch.
Yeah, we're west Palm Beach,
and it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, Texas is hot. Yeah.
So Josh, on your spiritual journey, have you had particular teachers that you've worked with? Any gurus, or have you done this on your own, or how's that gone for you?
Yeah, I've had First Nations, Indigenous teachers in Canada.
Hi, Joe.
And Tibetan.
Sorry, our dog's barking.
That's okay. What's up, Nigel?
He's going to start Buddy to bark now, John's dog.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you both have dogs in your phones that know each other online?
Well, I don't know if they do. They may.
But yeah, I'm muted. I'm muted most of the time, so
Okay.
Nigel's kind of on his own.
All right. Yeah, I had a Tibetan Buddhist teacher. He's Tibetan, 14th reincarnation. And I don't see him all the time, but I did a concentrated 3 years of stuff there, and that was good. And
is that in Toronto?
Yeah, in Toronto. He's spent his time in Toronto, and then Vancouver and Mongolia.
Wow.
Yeah, so I worked. I did my little part in trying to be a student there and get the and then First Nations, sweat lodges, this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was really powerful, and I had some teachers there who like just for ceremony and clean me up, because we're so messy, people nowadays. Gotta get in the smoke and get all,
Right. Yes.
Now, what led to writing this book?
The pandemic era, when that whole thing, like it was just like, wow, it's all getting exposed, and the soil's churning, and people starting to see just the level of confusion on Earth, and in this realm, and just socially, politically, right? So I had already written a bunch of essays on some of these things, but I started to really hold groups to help people, and obviously, I lost a lot of friends, and it made a lot of because you talk candidly about how you see the world, and that was a whole. It still is, it's that whole thing we've all dealt with. So, but I also put a lot of the energy into going, look, it's not just about this world or these powers or politics. It's not just about that. It's there's a lot of layers going on here. There's a lot of spirits. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of symbol. There's a lot of things we could talk about that'll actually help people have refuge and get out of obsession, because getting worried and mad and furious and angry and scared is not going to liberate any of us. You want to get the bigger picture and then come back to your heart. And that's, so this is like the theme of the book, right?
Huh.
So your book, in a way, reminds me of a book called Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions, in that the protagonist in Flatland is living in a two-dimensional world. And he presents the idea to the people that there is a third dimension, and it creates space. It's called space. And you've taken our three-dimension or four-dimension, if you include time, world, and well beyond that into other dimensions. You talk about the 12 dimensions. Can you go into that some?
Yeah.
How do we know there are 12? That's what I want to know.
So 12, we don't have to do 12. It's just for the sake of framing at some point, you know, how far you start to observe how consciousness or bodies expand and nature and form, and you start to observe like and at some point you could probably say there's 24 million dimensions. I don't know what you want to do, but if I say start tracking after time, you say, well, once you realize time is relative and is more connected to perception than we think, right? Then you get into the next one, which is like, well, where does intuition, knowing, and consciousness play to its relationship to time? And then you could call that 5. We don't really need to put numbers, but you start going that way. And then from there you go, well, if I'm a conscious perceiver, then why am I singular? Can I not have 2 vantage points if there's so many nodes of time and space? Then you get into 6, and I just brought it to 12, where 12 would almost coming back to the still point where you know, God, or you know, just heart and consciousness is just everything, you know. 'Cause so,
You know, a lot of people these days are talking about ascension and the fifth dimensional whatever. I mean, does that pertain to what you're talking about also?
Yeah. Fifth dimension's like knowing, psychic powers, knowing, intuition, and the heart space where we get out of fear and lack and me versus you and into the next layer of evolution.
Well, what do you see in store for humanity? I mean, it's a mess right now.
Yeah, it's going to stay a mess for a while. But, you know, you have these multiple tracks. We've always had this, right? So some people right now are living in, you know, being bombed out, and we're all on our computers now. There's always realities that cohabitate and share. And within yourself or within myself, in the same day, I can stub my toe, or I get a bill, or I worry about someone I love, and I'm in a kind of hell, you know, and then I'm out of it the minute I have a sip of coffee, the sun shines, or my friend calls. So the states of being are always moving, right? You're always changing, and just like, how much can you tolerate? And on Earth, it's the same. So there's going to be more variation coming up, right? So you're going to have more extremes but also so bigger extremes, but also more in betweens as well. So technologically, we're going to move. My reading is we're going to move out of. We're going to have 2 tracks. One is using material science, where you could extract what we're doing now and go, well, what's the extension of that? Okay, so you're using vibration, light, affecting the ions in like the air particles or the air, you know, waves even, which are affecting the air itself, and have technologies, right, that are that refined. You don't even see them, you don't know them. You call it, like right now, EMFs and stuff like that. So you're getting less and less noticeable, more micro, But so you could walk into a room and then all your cells get regenerated, or maybe you get a new bone transplant because they use a holographic bone, and then little these little particles come together in that area because they know how to form based on frequency, right? So you're getting into that, and that sounds pretty good maybe to some people, but really you're starting to really work with the material realm. The other tract of humanity is going towards spirit, which is that we don't need anything else. We never did, we never will. And you're going to have those extremes form on Earth too soon, which is people who realize paradise is within their mind and body. We keep looking for it out, and then they're going to go to other planets, and we're going to terraform Mars and all that stuff. For Earth and the world coming up soon, the good guys, people who want peace, this kind of thing, who aren't looking for power or to take, we have helpers. So for instance, there's not going to be nukes that are allowed to fly. That's not going to happen. But there's going to be a lot of almosts. And there's going to be a lot of confusion because we're going to think things are happening because of the media and because of AI and because of deep fakes. We don't know what's happening on screens, right? So it's going to be messy perception time for the next 25 years, basically.
Basically, you're talking about Pluto is now in Aquarius for the first time in 248 years. Next year, 2025, both Saturn and Neptune enter Aries. So that's going to be interesting for you because normally that doesn't happen in the same year. It's rare.
Yeah. What happens?
We'll see.
Well, my partner is an astrologer, but I'm so curious. I'm just learning about this stuff. That's a system I don't know much about. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I didn't know much about astrology when I met Trish many years ago, and I've always been open to mystical things, but of course growing up and when I did and in high school, they really promote very logical thinking, and it seemed like astrology was outside of that, but yet I was open to the possibility. And when I met Trish, she just asked me my birth time and place and details, and it was like I just met her very soon before, very short time before that, and suddenly she starts talking about me as if she's known me all my life. So it's kind of
I had to know if he was worth it, if he was worth the time.
Yeah. So.
Isn't it amazing? It's
incredible.
I'm having the same experience with my partner where it's just like suddenly so many things are clicking that I used to just really be bewildered or blame myself about, right? And then you get this info and it's like, well, that's because you're this. You got Leo rising and you got Leo setting up a triple fire. It's like, well, yeah, you're gonna be burning it all the time, all day, every day, in my case. And and then there's other obviously different houses that do different things. But
yeah. But for Aries, it's going to be really interesting in 2025 because Neptune is really going to, once it goes into Aries, that's really going to heighten your spirituality.
That's what she was saying. And I'm like, well, if you're already this guy, like, I don't know what kind of guy.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll see you after your head explodes.
I know, I just have to go to a cave or something. I don't know. I tried that already. It doesn't work. You just end up back here wanting to.
Yeah. So let's talk about situation with people who are just now entering, the spiritual realms, their spiritual journey, I should say, and maybe they're having out-of-body experiences, maybe they're having spirit contact, dreams, lucid dreaming, but then something happens. They're on this high about going to a higher level of spiritual contact and that, and suddenly they have issues with demons. Can you talk about that? Because that's something that some people encounter. Yeah.
Yeah, the devil is spiritual. I like that quote. Everything's spiritual. So people are like, I'm getting spiritualized. I'm having a spiritual. Well, yeah, you live in a spiritual engine, like an ocean of frequencies where everything is possible, everything is happening. So you go to sleep, you have a lucid dream, you start flying, and you meet someone. You say, I met this crazy person in their dream, and they were showing me these swords, and they were saying to step into this portal. And I'm like, would you do that in your waking life? Would you trust a stranger and walk down a tunnel into a strange place where a warlock is standing there with a glyph on the ground? Like, you think your dream, but why is it no different? So govern yourself accordingly, because what we don't see is here, if someone bumps you into the street, maybe you get the dirt on your shoulder, or maybe you even pick up bacteria from them or something, or people make love, and then you have to deal with the material transmission of still particle, like we're still here. There, you're having that energy transmission and psychic interjection and stuff in the dream time, in the astral time, right? Your astral hygiene, all of ours, is messed up because we're not trained. Now, simultaneously, our energy bodies are being fed on while we're in bed here, walking around the streets and all this kind of stuff. And then we take that into the dream space, and we expect we're going to be dream warriors. We're going to be super, whatever. And it's like, well, you just ate all this junk, and we're thinking all these negative thoughts, and all of us, right? Like, we're inundated with so much noise. So spiritual hygiene is having, a normal, good heart, which means doing a cleaning all the time. Be accountable. Let's not lie to ourselves and other people. And no, you can't get away with it in the spirit world. It doesn't matter if you feel okay about it after everyone's forgotten. Your energy body is retaining the vibration of that lack of integrity. So it's a very basic religious tenet, and it's the same for me. I'm not saying I'm above this. I'm a holy man at all. When we mess up, be accountable, clean up that, because it affects your energy body. Your soul is not just a moral thing. It's like an energy body. And that energy body is made of your ability to actually self-love. You can't love yourself if there's a disturbing frequency of lack of self-acceptance that can come from having deceived yourself and others and thinking you can get away with it. God knows everything. We know everything in our hearts. So cleaning that up will prevent things like visitation by beings that love our self-deception. They feed on it. And it is a wild cosmos. It is a predatory cosmos. It is just like the jungle out here. Just because you're in a nice comfy bed, it does not mean anything.
And I'm just real quick. I have to make my one completely random music reference. Dream Warriors, one of my favorite songs by Dokken. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, John, you got it.
It's like Freddy Krueger stuff, right? It's like, remember that?
It was a song from that soundtrack. Yeah.
Well, oh yeah. Dream Warrior.
That's the one.
I want to dream no more. Yeah,
that's the one.
Right.
Josh sings.
I don't know. Well,
I had a question. Where'd it go? It just flew out of my head.
Well, let me ask then. Let's talk a little bit about the Pleiadians.
That was my question about ETs.
Yeah, in your channeling, are they physical beings? Are they light beings? Are they both? Well, how do you perceive them?
Yeah, awesome. The way I perceive them is like the speed of thought. They have these energy bodies, kind of like blue, glowing, angelic bodies, but their bodies are less perceptible to us. They don't need to have that sort of star-shaped arms, legs, head, torso, body. They had bodies. All things have many sentient beings, especially humanoid, were hominid and evolved the way we're evolving, meaning they came from, now gets into a big thing about, did we just come from amoebas and then we crawled up onto the sludge? It's not that simple, right? Humans are angelic by nature. We're not just monkeys. We're something else. But evolution is true, right? There's complex organisms. We're always evolving, and so they evolved, and they had a different tract of evolution because of the speed of how light and frequency in their galaxy works. So their conscious evolution was faster. So they got into this light body 5D thing faster than we're doing it. We actually keep forgetting, falling asleep, or getting tampered with here on Earth, because we're sort of like, we just don't know. We're just, we're very special, beautiful things, humans. But as a result, we're sort of pets, food, playthings, or protected. And because we're just waking up, right? Again, we've been awake before, by the way, but it's happening again. So they are like these energy beings, lovely, joy-filled, helpful, sort of like what we would be like if you eliminated all the fear and lack in your nervous system and you knew everything was going to be okay forever, you would just encourage others and you'd be in a great mood.
So
How
people,
do animals fit into this whole picture? Like cats, dogs, turtles, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they have extreme psychic capacities, both all animals, every single animal. They feel disappointment, attachment, loss, love, joy, play. Animals they have a huge range. Obviously, we know that, right? And they also don't determine spiritual energy the same way we do. Animals have the ability to choose and direction, but it's largely governed by instinct and by their spirit. Their spirit is innocent. Humans have this extra faculty of language, right, and symbol, and so we determine the way we steer our energy through thought, and that is very different than an animal's thought. An animal's thought is more like an impression, a feeling, and so with us though, conceptual thought is very, very powerful. We're energy determiners. We determine whatever we want, but we're not very good at it, but we can do that.
Yeah. So back to the Pleiadians again.
Yeah.
People who are on this track of knowledge say that the Pleiadians are related to us. We're linked with them, but they're like very much more evolved, more advanced, maybe like because they're 1 million years older than us or 2 million or whatever. So I'm wondering, what do you think of the possibility that they're the ones who created us? And that's the link.
Yeah, I think that a lot of different architects have had a hand in seeding the evolution of humans. That they continue to play a role in our evolution. Our DNA and our genetics are affected by this tampering, this changing, suppression or advancing, through
both actually, right? Yeah. There's some that want to hold us back, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there like an ET battle going on for humanity? I've heard that before. I mean,
you just look up in your sky and imagine gigantic ships and human helicopters and stargates and portals and a giant circus of activity going on all the way out to the solar system, and down below as everyone's just watching TV and
yeah,
interesting.
You were having these thoughts and these visions about this cosmic war going on when you were a child, right? In dreams and in your imagination, visualizations.
I was, yeah.
So you were living like in two worlds then. Yeah.
Now, are your kids, are they on similar tracks to you?
I don't know.
Interesting. Because sometimes it does run in families, I've found.
Yeah. How about you guys? Do you have these experiences with this stuff?
We have our share.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mostly for me, a lot happens through synchronicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
a lot of that, and some for me through my dreams too, and contact with spirit beings that way.
Plus, we have a daughter who she just finished driving across the country from Florida to Washington State to work with whales. So on the way, she stopped in Roswell, and she sent me some pictures of, the exhibits and stuff. And so I posted a couple things online, and a friend of mine that I went to college with said, "Hey, she's really your kid, Trish, with all this alien stuff."
Yeah, it does run the family.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
There is that. Like we've said before on the podcast, synchronicities related to aliens and UFOs or UAPs have had so many of those. Like taking a drive from Stewart, Florida, which is further north of Palm Beach County, and coming back, we hit the town of Jupiter, and what do we see? Like 7 or 8 red crafts, or they're like lights in the sky in a formation.
They were moving unusually.
Right, and we stopped and pulled off into a park and saw them. And
yeah, and there's a guy in there on the phone, frantic with his wife or his girlfriend. You're not going to believe what I just saw. There are UFOs in the sky. Rob and I are sitting here. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he is this big, tough biker on his Harley, and he was freaking out about the aliens in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have experiences like that.
Yeah. And something that Josh said just a few minutes or a couple of minutes ago about looking up in the night sky, I really believe that is I really believe that's a big disconnect for a lot of people. The people that are just sitting and watching their TV at night is just the light pollution and stuff. A lot of people don't ever really see the night sky, certainly not in its entirety.
Yeah, if you're in the city, it's you may see a few stars, but if you get out in the countryside, it's amazing.
Yeah, like in Washington State where Megan was, the sky was just incredible.
We're talking to a Canadian, so probably probably has seen a lot more of the night sky than a lot of people in the southeast U.S. have.
Yeah,
right. That's amazing. Being up. I mean, you get. I remember being in an area called Muskoka, which is it's like where people go to other summers, and it's a giant lake, and there's no light pollution, there's nothing, and the Northern Lights had their thing, and there was a Northern Lights and then a meteor shower all in one summer.
Oh wow!
Look, kid, and just like you're inside that starlight magic that you get your place on Earth laying on the dock outside, right? We've had these experiences, right, where you realize you're on the planet and a little, and then you really get it. Even though you drive around, you see the moon every night, do you ever remember what that is? Like what strength that is? Like it's good for us.
It's humbling and really kind of helps put things in perspective, I think. Now I don't see it on a regular basis, but when I have been in an area where I could, it puts things into perspective, just that we are just a small piece of a much bigger thing.
Unimaginably small.
Yeah. It's not sand, grains of sand, maybe even smaller, probably really small than that. But
dust.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you write about, Josh, is the cosmic Christ, but you're also involved in Buddhism. So I'm wondering how the cosmic Christ relates to the Buddhist enlightenment path.
Yeah, I mean, I had my experience with salvation in my life in a very traditional way. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't believe and have any of those things. But when I reached out, I was met by, in my pain, which is what Christ does, right? For people who genuinely have that happen, it's only in the absolute bottom and desperation that when we legitimately renounce our ego and ourself and we just give up, that Christ enters our heart. Now, I, don't think that the Mesopotamian or, Abrahamic books have canonized the real energy and what that really is properly. I'm not a Christian in that sense, right? But I am a Christian in the sense that I believe I can pray to Christ and there's a personal, immediate, warm, completely forgiving Savior of my heart, of humanity forever, Alpha and Omega. And I don't actually think that's different than what people say when they relate to the Buddha or the Buddhas, because there's different aspects of compassion. Just like the apostles in early proper Orthodox Christianity are actually canonized because they are aspects of different parts of our minds and parts of life and parts of forgiveness and parts of compassion. Christianity is actually quite mystical and actually very much like that in its proper church canon. So obviously I just don't really care about the religious piece as much as recognize energy and the energy of love. And then that love is within our hearts. It's not anywhere else. But there is a being that emerges. There is a super being. I believe it's part of us, but I believe we are part of everything, right? Because that's the Dharma. So for me, on a mundane, basic level, when I pray to God, I don't think I'm God, though there's no separation between me and God in the end, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
So tell us how music and film play into your spiritual practice.
I mean, it's just art, being being creative. You know, it's like if I don't do it, then something's wrong in my life. You know, film is really hard because film is a business. You got to work with a lot of people. It's not just art like painting or making a song on guitar. It's saying you're making art, but then you're actually starting a business and you're actually fighting for funding, and then you're rewriting scripts with multiple people, and then you have to shoot and use technology, and it's not, I don't know what it is. It's its own thing, but you have a story you want to tell, and it's still a good way to do that, you know. So
you've worked with film crews?
yeah. Oh yeah. I directed a film, and I made a bunch of pretty big budget music videos, and those are like small film crews. So that's it's kind of addicting actually to get into that position and to get it all going, and you arrive, you know, for the day or 2 days, and then you got to do it, and everything matters, you know, every single thing, and then that's it. So it's a fun project.
Did you find writing a book easier or more difficult?
No, writing a book didn't make any sense to me. I don't really understand. I don't know. You guys have written books. I have no idea. I just write stuff, and then I kind of put it all together at the end and went like, it's something. And then I gave it in, and then they went, the person, amazing, Richard Grossner, was really cool, who runs was acquisitions for Intertraditions for a time. And he was like, there's something really real here, and it's going to need work. Editing. You know, I don't understand. I write little things easily, but a book, wow.
So did you edit it or did he?
No, the publisher edited. They had a whole team. So it's got a lot of love. It's a very dense, very complicated book, right? It's philosophy, it's metaphysics, so it's a kind of book that people can read for a lifetime. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a beginner's book.
No, it's dense.
Yeah,
very dense material.
Too dense for me. I look at it sometimes and I'm like, this is. I don't.
Now,
talk like
Josh, when you channel Pleiadians, what does that feel like? I mean, do you go into another? I imagine you go into an altered state, but how do you know it's Pleiadians? How do you know it's not Arcturians?
Those different feelings. They told me, and I feel them as full of joy and benevolence and in service of light and goodness for humanity, and they never lie, and therefore I trust that they are something that's good, and all the answers have always been what I recognize as like very morally clear, really sweet answers. They never create any disturbance. They only create love and joy, clarity. And then they told me who they were, and I got some downloads about that. I don't do a lot of that, to be honest with you. The Pleiadian thing's not a big thing anymore for me to work with. I'm really working with the earth right now, and myself, actually. The human story is very big right now. We need to ground in very practical ways. That's like the medicine right now is like, all the magic in the world is not, in the cosmos, is not going to save us. It's all there, all the dimensions, all the spirits, all there. But how we govern our mind day to day, moment to moment, it's as my teachers say, and this is how I'm living right now, is we've got to slow it down. You got to slow down. You got to slow down.
Well, in what sense? I mean, in terms of decisions, how you think, or what?
Yeah, this rush to judge and rush to make hasty, excited, or fear-based decisions. We're being pushed around a lot in this era, and sovereignty will come from creating spaciousness. That's the message that's come for me. Excuse me. Is like, that's the message, is like, come back to your central core, to your body, to your day, and we don't have to do so much. We don't have to figure it all out. We have to look at everything like a dream and bring love to it. And this medicine's like the earth medicine, right? It's like humans have a role on earth. We may have a role in the cosmos. We do. And there's lots to say about it, but that's just what the message has been. for me lately.
Now, do the Pleiadians predict your future?
No, you can ask the Pleiadians any question and they'll give it would be something like, will I have a good future? It wouldn't be, what is the future?
Yeah, okay.
And if you say, will I have a peaceful, good future? They'll give you exactly the truth. And usually it's very positive and joyful because from their point of view, there's not really many things that would be terribly bad because even the worst challenges are part of the soul's evolution. So if you ask, for instance, will my future be safe and bright and positive? They'd say, of course, up to you. You know what I mean? It's nice stuff like that. But you also get a really beautiful, clear message that helps with direction from them.
Josh, since your book is quite dense, what do you say is the main takeaway from your book that readers would gain?
Just sort of what I was speaking about, which is there is a way to channel and open your consciousness and have telekinesis and have your psychic powers developed. And it's through a few basic things. It's your own heart, sovereignty, body process healing. And it is through lucid dream time, going into lucid dream time and realizing that the difference between this world, your dream world, and even between lives is not much difference. So rest in the fact that you are an observer, a witness, a consciousness unfolding. Get out of this persona thing. The more you rest there, the more you start to click in there. You get this light kind of goes on. That's the development of your eternal soul coming online. Now that is the cosmic message from all the advanced beings, right? It's never late to start. If you do it on your deathbed or you get that message on your deathbed, that's cool, but you're going to do another round. You're going to go, it's like how many of these unconscious lives do you want to live? So get conscious now. And it's not about grinding. It's about resting in your open awareness, but know what's what. So this is the message. It's more like a Dharma book. It's more like consciousness, more like you can do it. It's like a positive thing.
Now,
Go ahead,
Trish. Okay, I was just going to say, you're involved in Buddhism. Do you think we need dozens or hundreds of lives to advance, or can we do it without having to come back over and over and over again?
Yeah, you could do it in 3 years. You could do it in 3 lifetimes. You could do it in 1 lifetime. But the amount of work, it's just like if I said to either you now or you said to me, like, okay, I want you to run a marathon blindfolded and I want you to learn how to juggle while you do it. You've never done any of those things before, but I know you could do it. And I said, and you got to start today while you have to raise your kids, eat, make a living, and get in traffic. I'd say it's possible, but you'd say, well, I would need. What would you say? You'd say, I need 3 lifetimes to learn that. And I'd say, yeah, it's about right. It's like, to sit and get your thoughts to stop dictating unconscious, meaning like involuntary thoughts, impressions and energies, to stop bullying us, to harness that and see through reality, that it's a delusion, it's an illusion, it's a hologram. To really see that, not just what I just said. That's just thinking it's interesting intellectually, but know it. Like Matrix, to know it, and with your mind, with your body, with your sight, with your senses, that could take eons, because everyone here, this is the sad part, no one likes this, but how many billions of humans are on Earth, and they're all at very different stages of evolution. I'm sorry, but there's no egalitarian spirituality. We're all different, right? We know it. Now we're all divine sparks of God, and we're equal. We're all the same at our heart, exactly the same. But in terms of recognition and realization, everyone is at a different phase.
Do we choose our own lives, the circumstances?
Yeah, there's a bit of, well, the way I see it, and maybe some people see it differently. I tend to see it where there's karma, which is like the unconscious process, like cause and effect is
right.
And then there's your consciousness having the ability, your sort of eternal witness eye, the one between lives, right? Your soul. having the ability to direct. Now, that's what I just said a minute ago about what you want to learn to do. Because if we don't have, our soul is not lit up, right, with the fire of self-awareness and the fire of God, that's whatever you want to call it, then we're going to be blown like a feather in the wind between lives by our karma, by our habits.
So tell me this. What happens in between lives? What is the afterlife like? I mean, are there cafes? Is there art? Because, I mean, what do you do?
And you start practicing now. I mean, you realize that when you're dreaming, that's the training ground for, right? So how often can you lucid dream? How often do you know you're dreaming? How often do you meditate, or how often do you open your heart in a dream? How often, when you lucid dream, do you say, I'm lucid dreaming, and all dreams are produced by my mind and by these realms, these dimensions that are created by collective minds, and you realize that's what samsara, or reality, is. So when you die, you just, first of all, you got to go through the trauma of losing your body, which is a big deal. You have to dissolve, your whole body has to go. If you've ever died alive, it's like we hold on a lot, right? We're really holding on. And for most people, it's very hard to let go of the addiction to this body. Once you get out of that, then you're basically in a big, wild, lucid dream, right? And then it's like, did you train? Did you train to go, this is a lucid dream. I can choose to rebirth. I know what's going on here. I'm looking for a body because this is not comfortable. I'm looking for safety, or God help me, depending on your metaphysics, because there's a lot of problems out there. Start to determine what you want to do. But for some of us, they go, I saw a big white light and my ancestors and family came and they gave me a big hug, and I saw my family dog and we were in a field. And, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does. It's part of the process, because you realize you're loved, but the process continues,
Can I ask something real quick, Russ?
Sure.
Yeah, I know I just kind of randomly jump in, but and you brought up Christianity earlier, which I was raised in that within that dogma, and so and I kind of was wrestling with whether to even ask this question, and because it's kind of negative, but at the same time, and maybe too simplistic, but is there, but when we have guests on talking about transcending and evolution is certainly a word that's brought up, used to describe the process, and taking multiple lifetimes is, and so the reason I brought up Christianity, there's definitely a term that's used quite a bit, especially in the southern United States in Church of Christ Baptist Church, about backsliding. So so over multiple lives, can you de-evolve and then re-evolve, or is it, or once you've built that block, do you usually, is that foundation just there, or you can lose it, you can fall through it or whatever?
My Lama said that we take these bodhisattva vows, right? Like you're trying to become a saint. Let's just say, you can use Christian terminology, same thing. You're like, I want to help everyone. I want to help everyone even more than that. I want to help myself. I want to help every single sentient being in the cosmos more than even I'm the last on the boat. This is very Christ-like. This is bodhisattva vow. It's very similar. Like, who cares about the cultures? It's just this way of dedicating your life across lives through compassion, because you see that everyone's suffering and going through these cycles, right? We all are. Now, he said, of course, even a Lama could end up getting drunk and being a mess and lying and, hitting someone with his car and not telling someone about it, or even worse. And so what happens with his karma? Well, he was embodied, he was a determiner with cause and effect based choice making, because he was a sovereign being. So it doesn't matter that maybe he had 15 lives before that of like just helping people and living in a beautiful shack. But once that Lama was reincarnated and he thought he had enough energy and steam to get into a big bad city in the 21st century, and someone offered him drugs, like we are subject to the temptations, as the Christians know well, and this is why we have to be so careful, because we are sovereign energy determiners. Now, I will say this, there's certain levels of stabilization we can have that it's less detrimental to us to make those mistakes, because we can clean up that karma way quicker because we know how. We're going to do the right thing after. We're going to make amends. That's what I said at the beginning. We're going to supplicate to the cosmos, just so our hearts get right. And that cleans up our merit field, it's called energy, right? And we're going to rededicate and do a lot of good stuff, not just externally, but even just small things day to day, and clean that karma. So we can do it faster if we've already learned how. But we get back on the train, yeah. Gotcha.
I can see what. Oh, yeah, I can see what John is saying about the question of possible de-evolution. I mean, in the everyday world, we see a lot of conflict going on, a lot of dualism, and it seems like there might be some entities that are seeding some of this backward motion that we seem to be going through. But at the same time, there's a great awareness that at a deeper level, at a soul level, that we're all interconnected, and that there is a great shift going on that's affecting many millions of people. You don't hear much about it in the everyday world, though, but it's there. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's definitely happening. There's millions waking up. It's super weird for a lot of people. They don't know what's happening, but they're starting to question their relationships. They're starting to question work. And the astrologists would say a lot about what, the whole Aquarian era. It's like we shifted out of the Piscean era, totally different orientation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just from a more grand psychic point of view about what's happening on Earth with the ascension process and all this, is that the light has changed on Earth. There's been a shift of light, right? The galactic sun is changed. Our light is different, meaning our DNA, our bodies, our cells, our perception is changing. So it doesn't matter whether you read the right book or not. People are holding more consciousness, right? So as a result, consciousness is like fire. It's going to burn through the shadows and ignorance, right? So people are going to have that, whether they're the most conservative religious person or they're just whatever, Wall Street guy or girl, and they have these visions of realities that they don't even question. It's going to start blowing open because of how they feel, and they're going to feel different, and they're not going to like it, So they're dying in some ways. It's a mass ego death. It's a collective Kundalini awakening. Yes, there are beings that are slowing that process because they want us to become cyborgs, and they want to eat a lot of the energy that's coming off of this. It's like it's like sprinkling off of us all this energy, and they feed off it. So there's lots of players at the table, right?
Yeah.
You just got to you determine where you fit in, and we can't do that much individually. We can do little things. No one's the big savior, everyone, like, we're not in the era of the guru. Right. We are little tiny, we're just people. We're humans. Actually, we talked about earlier, we're just little, like, antennas popping off the earth. we're real small, and so that's okay. Like, just do our little part. But yeah, people are waking up en masse, and it is messy.
Right.
Is there actually, sorry to change the subject, but is there actually a rainbow bridge that everybody talks about, that when your pets die, they go to the rainbow bridge? What is that?
It's funny. I had a dream 2 nights ago of a dog we have in this house here, a golden retriever.
We have a golden too.
Oh, wow.
That's Nigel.
I always grew up with golden retrievers, and this one, I think, is getting very old, so he's starting to enter my dreams. And he was running over these pebbles and all these beautiful stones, and I was watching him run so free with all these other dogs, like a dog pack. And he was like, when dogs run at like that, the super speed they do, and you're like, wow, and they just fly over things.
Hardly touching the ground,
Yeah. And I was watching him, and I that felt like the golden bridge, because he's maybe very old, so he's going to doggy heaven soon.
Yeah.
I asked because in the past year, we've lost a dog, a cat, and 2 cats, actually. And so, people send you cards, they're in the rainbow bridge. I'm thinking, well, why aren't they talking to me? You know, how come I can't see them?
Got to put them to work.
Yeah.
How?
Well, what would they want to? All deceased beings leave an imprint in connection to their family, and they want to be put to work. They want a job because we all want jobs. That's actually the truth of the cosmos. We all want jobs. And so a dog and a cat is the same. They want offerings, sure, but we always do that because we feel guilty or sad. We go like, "Here's your favorite, thing."
Yeah.
That's nice, but what they would really like is like whatever your dog or cat's name is. Like, can you tell me if there's someone at the door? You know what I mean? Then you might get a hint somehow because they're gonna. Yeah, they like that. They love. Same with our family members that have passed. They love jobs.
Okay, I'm gonna start assigning tasks.
Totally. People like to be useful, especially spirits when they're not so selfish anymore. They're like, "What can I do? Let me help you."
Okay.
Josh, I think we've come to the end of our hour.
Oh, this has been so great. We got to have you on again, Josh.
Yeah, anytime. It's really fun.
I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, it's great talking to you.
Thank you. Appreciate
John, when is this episode going up?
It will be, I believe, 2 weeks from today because I think next weekend is Star Power.
I have to finish it first.
Yeah, but it is the end of the month next.
Okay.
So it'll be 2 weeks from today.
Okay, great talking to you, Josh.
And I'll send you the link, John. Josh. Oh, God. 2 J's. Okay, take care. Have a good Sunday.
You too.
Thanks all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.